I've been planning to make rye bread for a while. Usually I make cranberry rosemary, a real crunchy freestyle loaf rye bread, which is great. But this time I'm going to make Jewish rye bread. The reason is that I'm intrigued that it takes sour pickle juice. I was sipping my dill pickle juice when I had a cold a couple weeks ago, and so then I looked up what to do with pickle juice, and I found this. You've seen this before, I think. I like this one because it makes a long loaf and 2 paddles. This time I'm only using it for making the dough, which is usually what I do when I make dinner rolls or anything else that is not baked in here. I still use the same bread pan. Over here we have the pumpernickel flour. You could just use a dark rye flour too. In fact, I have some rye berries. I ground wheat this morning, and I was thinking about grinding that, but I might as well use up the pumpernickel flour. It's a little bit more of a coarse grind. And then here we have my dill pickles. Remember, it has a grape leaf in there to try to keep them crunchy. They're not real crunchy anymore. And I think I'm going to use a strainer to strain out some of that dill weed. And now I'll see if I have caraway and if I want to use it. And just like I thought, it needs quite a bit more flour. I did forget to put the potato starch in. Potato starch has no flavor. Most people use it just as a resistant starch, but I guess I'll put a little bit in. If you had actual potato flour, or if I'd had leftover mashed potatoes, I would definitely use that. All right, a little bit more flour in there. That's maybe 1/3 of a cup. Let's go with that. Oh, it's going to need more than that. Let's put another 1/3. All right, let's give that a whirl. As soon as I close the lid, it will start in again. There we go. The rye dough is looking better, but it's still way too sticky. Rough and shaggy, anybody? Oh, that's actually not bad. I can probably work with that the rest of the way. All right, just a teeny bit more. This I'm happy with. Still, oh, it's not even tacky. Huh. Hopefully I didn't get too much flour in that. I don't think so. I'm not sure these two want to share. So I'll have to get another. And this one's not ready yet. I'll have to get something else for that. So, how you do the fold method, you put a little bit of flour on the bottom. Okay, and then you just press it down. Flip it over once, press it. Okay, and then just fold it. Fold it. Fold it, and flip it. So this is instead of kneading. What makes it work is that you let it rest in between, about 10 minutes in between each time that you do this. So in 10 minutes, should absorb that flour. Maybe add just a teeny bit more flour and do the same thing with it again. Well, it says it takes an hour to raise. It depends on the kitchen temperature. My kitchen's pretty chilly in here today in December, a week before Christmas, so it may take longer. It's been about 20 minutes now for my rye dough, and it's looking good. It's looking good. I just folded it. Let it go another 10-15 minutes. If this doesn't look like pumpernickel bread, I make not the genuine pumpernickel bread because that takes days to bake, a day to bake. Anyway, I've made the dark kind of pumpernickel bread, and what makes it really dark is I think it took both coffee, espresso coffee in it, and cocoa powder, and then it's a really pretty dark color. I'll maybe make that next time. But again, this is just my pickle juice Jewish rye bread that I've never made before. All right, we'll come back to you. Now it's been about 45 minutes. Still not doubled, but hey, not bad. I think in another half hour or so, I'll be ready to shape this and then let it rise to bake. Since I'm over here, let's see what the dinner roll dough is doing. My kitchen must be chilly. Doesn't quite feel ready either. Almost. Okay, that's enough for now. After an hour, not yet. It's looking good, has a nice feel to it, but just not quite doubled in size. Right, a little flour on the bottom. I'll roll this out. It calls for putting this in a 9x5 loaf pan if you wanted to make more like sandwich bread, but I really prefer artisan bread, so I'm going to shape it into a round loaf and put it on here. However, I decided I might make one or two, go with two little baby loaves. I want you to have a close-up look what it looks like now. See the fine bubbles in there? How it's raised. This is nice. This actually feels just about perfect. We'll see how it raises. Okay, so I formed one little loaf here. Put that in here. The reason that you usually roll out bread like this, roll out the dough, is to get rid of the air bubbles so that you have a nice solid loaf so you don't have big empty pockets. Now there's certain kind of breads where you want those air pockets. Maybe sometime this winter I will show you some of those kinds. The edges are pink. The edges are pinched tight. We'll flip that to the other side. And yeah, we'll just make a nice long loaf here instead of a round loaf. Either one is fine. What I'm going to do now is let it double in size again. Not sure how long that's going to take. And then once it's fully raised, I'll take a really sharp serrated knife and just cut a few slits in that, and then probably sprinkle some flour on it at that time too. As for these little guys, they are too small to have to worry about cutting slits in them. Let's let everything raise, and we'll see how long this takes. And we're on almost the final step. All we have to do is let it raise again and then bake it. And now the rye bread is finally ready to bake. I'm going to bake it at 375 or 400 for about 30 minutes. Just make a few slashes in here. Well, that was weird. Let's do another slash the other way. Okay, that opens it up. That's pretty good. And then to make it look real rustic, just sprinkle a little bit of white mixed with wheat flour here on top. There we go. That'll make it look like a artisan bread. Now I'll pop it in the oven. Oh, and if you're curious about how the dinner rolls turned out, looks like Stan's eaten a few of them already. Pull one apart. It's a nice, light, sweet kind of dinner roll. Same roll dough that I used to make cinnamon rolls too. I've eaten nearly half of this little loaf. It's really light. It's really light. I think I could maybe use a little bit more whole wheat flour next time. Or maybe just leave it like this and leave it light. Might make it with caraway next time so that it tastes like more of a genuine Jewish rye bread. In the meantime, it's good bread. Just eat with soup, eat as sandwiches, even toasted with eggs for breakfast. And there it is, my Jewish rye bread. There's the two little loaves. I put it on the lower shelf a little bit just to make sure that the bottom got done. It took a total of, I think, 40 minutes or so, 45 minutes at 375. And I think we're good. We're going to let it cool off completely before I slice into it. I'll slice it and then I will freeze it, separate it when I freeze it so that I can just take out a slice at a time, and that should be good. Until next time then, this is Lori Fiechter with My Indiana Kitchen saying Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.